The world government system is getting ready to enter stage right. Watch this.
Bank, after 40 years of being in the same bank, they shut my business account down yesterday.
It's happening to millions of people.
Coinbase and sending money for crypto away from the banking system.
I'm going to teach you how to fix this.
I went to JP Morgan Chase, and their manager told me that, yeah, they'll cancel me too if I send money to Coinbase. So this is what we're coming to right now.
Full-scale attack.
Building on blockchain, yet stopping us from using it because they know what's coming. And the person at JP Morgan admitted that, yeah, the banks are crashing. They're in a good position because they're not going anywhere because they built branches last year to prepare for the crash. So
I had countless clients send me tons of videos like this.
Get your act together, plan, and get out of the markets right now. Even though it's up today, the triple Qs are up because really
all the markets are up. Don't let that fool you. We're going to break down exactly what you need to do immediately. We're going to see the markets wiped out, retirement accounts, housing obviously is going to go down drastically, stock market, bond market, annuities. This is going to be bad. I've talked about my quadrant with crypto and with gold and silver. Cash is going to be king in the short term to buy assets for nickels on the dollar. It's why all the major fund managers have record cash. Berkshire Hathaway, Apple, Google, all the tech companies. You probably saw that distraction of a roundtable they had the other day. Here's what's happening right here.
Entering a world where certain people will never get a job interview because AI like dings certain things about their profile, you know, and like that's like where we're heading. That was like my, you know, concern number 5. It's like essentially like companies just start using an AI screen for everything, and then if you run afoul of one screen, you're probably gonna run afoul of all the other screens too.
Got to protect yourself immediately.
On the outside looking in. That's the kind of dystopia we're fast approaching.
We are very fast approaching that. And everyone is talking about that, not just former presidential candidate Andrew Yang, but countless individuals on both sides of the aisle because they know exactly where we are quickly going. Here's the debt clock in the United States. The debt clock around the world is far worse. They are sucking the last little bit out of the dollar while they can before they collapse the system, sin sheer panic. They are building everything on crypto and on the blockchain, but they're trying to push you out of it. I'm going to talk about the numbers today, where I think the numbers are going to go. The next bull run is coming, the largest transfer of wealth. The markets are going to get crushed. The housing markets are going to get crushed. Stocks, bonds, equities, annuities, everything is going to get ravaged. We're already seeing record unemployment. The United States is definitely in a recession, and it's only getting worse. Our job numbers just came out, 22,000 jobs. It's already going to get revised down to negative 200,000 jobs. For the first time in a very long time, we are backwards on literally everything: credit card debt, bankruptcies, repossessions, people not paying their credit cards, obviously, record evictions, record across the board, and not the good kind. This is no longer a drill. I've been talking about this for 5 years. The banks are gearing up to switch things over. You have to protect yourself while you still can. I did watch my last video and the one before that. I talked about the UN. I talked about the UN IDs. I talked about what they're doing. If you want to be able to travel in the future, if you want to be free in the future, if you want to be able to set your family up in the future, you are running out of time. This stuff is changing fast, and this is absolutely wild. We're going to break down the bills. You might be saying, I thought I saw something about an executive order where they can no longer debank people. No. That is not what you think, and I'm going to break that down. I'm going to break down the laws in this video. There is a lot happening. I've been talking to my colleagues in Europe and Canada, Australia, here in Washington, D.C., in the U.S. I've been back and forth to D.C. about 6 times. This is not good, and I'm going to break that down for you right now. They are full-scale attacking crypto while they're building everything on crypto. We are inches away from bank runs. You need to have yourself set up properly immediately. House sends bill regulating stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency, to Trump. So this is where it all started. You guys heard about the stablecoin, the framework bill. You guys probably heard about the Genius Act, right? These things passed, and we're going to talk about this here in a second. This was all a diversion for what's to come, tokenizing assets, and you can be grandfathered in right now, but they're going to crack down on tokenizing assets because they are going to be controlling the flow. I talked about my last video exactly how, and I showed you guys exactly how they're going to be blacklisting hardware wallet addresses. So your crypto will be locked in and stuck. It'll basically be burned. You won't be able to get in and out if you're not set up properly. I already just showed you a video of a guy, and I've had clients bombard me with these videos of people who are getting their account shut down, even their business accounts, because you're not set up as an institutional account. That does not count. It is not structured properly. It has to be through your digital asset trust. It has to be through your ghost company, or it's not going to matter. It's going to be not looked at. It's going to be looked at as a pass-through, and that still goes to you. And that's what this gentleman had, and that's what so many other people have, and they don't understand how to set this up properly. You will be exit liquidity for all the big companies, all the big institutions. You want to have yourself set up. Senate seeks to rein in stock tokenization and latest crypto bill draft. Yes, they are looking at seeking a lot more power when it comes to tokenization. You saw the Stablecoin Act this last summer, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. There's a couple of different things about that. The real prize for many crypto companies like Coinbase and Ripple is the market structure bill. This is so important. This is what I've been talking about, framework bill, for 4 years. The House has been on fire. They are literally going after the structure. They don't care about all these coins. XRP is not going to 10,000. I've been talking to people across the board. Even Ripple doesn't believe that. Even the people inside. XRP is not going to do more than $8 to $10. I've been saying this because it's the structure and the framework and the flow. This is what XRP is doing to build it out. It's not built on XRP. It is Ripple. Ripple is the company that is going to benefit greatly. If you're an XRP holder, you're not going to benefit. You need to understand the flow and how these things are working. Tokenization, being able to structure that, whether it's your real estate, whether it's other hard assets, whether it is crypto itself, and being able to tokenize companies or other potential asset or income producing opportunities / assets / long-term annuities, etc. You're seeing this in the bond market, and you're seeing this in the banking industry. They're building everything on this. Now, you may have seen the guaranteeing fair banking for all Americans. This is the official White House website. The first thing I need you to understand, if you're an American or if you're not American, executive orders are written on toilet paper. They're literally written on toilet paper. The president does not have the ability to write laws, enact laws. He can direct already existing Congress-approved, written into law, presidentially signed agencies to take specific measures, but he cannot stop debanking. What happened is Donald Trump is throwing an absolute tantrum because he got kicked off several social media platforms. He got charged with several crimes, right or wrong, it does not matter. And he has been blamed for, 1/6/21 about 1 million times. And so what he is trying to do is make it so he and his colleagues can no longer get pushed out of the banking system. This does not affect crypto, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. They can still boot you for crypto. In fact, they can still boot you for anything. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, oversees all this, regulated by the SEC. All this does is allow you to sue. You already could sue. You did not need this executive order. This is just so the president can tell his friends and his donors that he did something. This has absolutely no teeth. This is a great white shark with no teeth. It does not do anything. It does not add any value because it still defers to the SEC, the NDA, and obviously Congress. The president can't get involved unless there's a bill to sign. So unless this goes into law, which they've already put up 3 bills, which have failed, even with a Republican-led Congress, they have failed again. I mean, they're sitting there. So what he did is he wanted to tell his donors, his voters, his colleagues, a lot of his people, you've seen different YouTubers, different influencers get kicked out of banks. He wanted to say, I'm doing something. This doesn't actually do anything. All it does is goes through the regulatory options with the Federal Trade Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission. These are all laws that were already on the books. And if you look at this order like we have and like my colleagues have, this is all just stuff that is already there. In fact, this order references law, but the law dictates, as I'm going to show you in a second, the overarching regulatory authority to the SEC. So basically, he's just pointing to laws that have been on the books and acts that have been on the books for a very long time, some of which pushing 100 years. And he's saying, look, we have laws, but there is no case law precedent. And at the end of the day, even the Supreme Court has always deferred to the banks actually have the final say based on their internal policies. So it's a big rigmarole to basically get to back we already are, where the banks can do whatever they want like they always have. This does absolutely nothing, does not stop you from crypto or anything else. Trump debanking order will have limited impact on crypto. Experts say, oh, of course it'll have limited impact on crypto because he cannot make law. And so his executive order is a great white shark with no teeth. This does not do anything. This does not have any value. You have to set yourself up properly. You have to be able to on and off ramp your crypto, which we're going to talk about. So guidance, documents, and manuals. Basically, there was some people in southern Texas and also in New Hampshire that broke down what qualifies to be able to be debanked. Technically, they're using the competition law because crypto is a competition to the bank, so the bank has the right to not accept customers or allow customers to use specific competition. Have you ever tried to send a bank wire to another bank and your bank's going to discourage it and try to tell you that other? They're basically just downplaying their competition. That's all they're doing. They want all your business. They want your banking, your business banking, your mortgage, your car loan, your retirement savings. They want everything with them. They don't want you to diversify. They want all your eggs in their basket. And when it goes bad, oops, sorry. But until then, they want everything with them. That's all they're doing. And they have the right because of crypto. Coinbase, because Coinbase is regulated by the same regulatory board, that goes on every exchange, whether it's Binance, whether it's crypto.com, doesn't matter who it is, same regulatory board. What that means is they can deny you. So unless it is an institutional product through a certified and numbered business account, which is why I'm such a big proponent of having a digital asset trust. Is the only place you have to get your crypto out of your name, or they don't have to work with you. They can hold it in Trump's order for 120 days, which would be detrimental for crypto. And also, they can stop any transactions. And if a transaction is with a direct competitor, with every exchange is, unless it's an institutional or it's a revenue derivative-based product, which because crypto is labeled as a commodity under the FTC, the only way you can qualify that is to have a business account or an institutional account. No personal accounts qualify, meaning as of right now, they can shut you down anytime they want if you do not have a qualified business account. So important to understand. So many people do not understand this. They think that you can just set up an exchange, hook it to your regular account, and send money back and forth. You used to be able to do that in 2017. With a lot of banks, you could do that in 2021 or 2022. But that has been being shut down left and right over the last 2 to 3 years. And now it is actually in black and white. That executive order wasn't to help you. It was to give the banks regulatory clarity to expunge their competition while they build everything for themselves and their colleagues on the blockchain. It's direct competition, and they don't, just like the bank doesn't want you to keep your own cash, they want you to put it in their bank so they can leverage it to the hilt. They also don't want you to custody your own crypto. It's why they're trying to structure this way. It's why they're blacklisting and setting up to blacklist hardware wallet addresses so the crypto is basically dead. It's why it's so important that you have it in a digital asset trust so this cannot happen to you on your hardware wallet, on your exchange, and certainly on your on and off ramp when you decide to cash out. Because if you don't cash out in the bull run, which is happening soon, you will literally be exit liquidity and you'll watch it go up and then you'll watch it come back down and you'll just be sitting there. You'll just be sitting there because you can't do anything. You'll watch it on your computer screen, but you won't be able to move it. You won't be able to do anything. That's the fundamental problem. That's what's in the framework bill, and that's what's in the structure bill that they just referenced when I showed you a second ago over on the executive order side and also over on the congress.gov, which we're going to go to that here in a second. So the banking responsibility is broke out clearly to be able to protect your money through FDIC. Crypto obviously doesn't count unless it's internal custody. Internal custody has to be on their books. That's why they're going to stop working with any crypto outside their structure. Going into 2026 and 2027, all crypto through banks will be on their internal structure just like cash. And this is how they're going to usher in CBDCs. They're going to use the blockchain against us. What once gave us freedom, we are allowing them to take that away. So if you don't set yourself up properly, you are going to allow them to take it away. It's the same thing that happened when they tried to confiscate gold. Do you think all the rich and the elite turned in their gold? No, none of them did. None of them did on record because it was never a law. It was an order. That's it. So if you didn't do it, the consequences were nil. They threatened you. They scared you. Just like in 2020, if you didn't get a certain thing like I didn't and I never will, they threatened you. They tried to scare you. They took shots fired at you. It was the largest media campaign to call you basically a menace to society and the scum of the earth. And people like me rejected it because they couldn't do anything. They tried to sue us out of existence, threaten us out of existence, fine us out of existence. But when it was all said and done, we told them to pound sand and where they can actually shove that thing. And that was it. That was the same with the gold. Well, the smart and the wealthy held it, hid it. When the prices got shot up, sold it, made a bundle. Unfortunately, the regular guys got steamrolled. This is exactly what is gearing up to happen in crypto. And I've been saying this from the rooftops for 5 years. I have 4 or 5 years worth of videos on this channel breaking down exactly what's going to happen leading up to this moment. And over the next 2 years, all the steps that I've said were going to happen are going to completely and utterly unfold. I was talking about the Fed coin in 2021 when people thought I was crazy and nuts, and now it's here. It is not going to be XRP. It is the Fed coin on the Fed blockchain. XRP has nothing to do with it. Ripple is going to profit greatly. Brad Garlinghouse is going to be a zillionaire. Ripple is going to be up there with the market cap like Tesla. Guess where XRP is going to be? Maybe $8 to $10. Nobody is using XRP like these morons are claiming. If you're holding XRP thinking you're going to be a zillionaire, you're not going to be. I got in at 10 cents and I recently got out at $3. And I'm going to do better than almost all of you. If you're buying XRP right now, you'll be lucky to 3x your money. Okay? Get serious. Get serious for a second. Nobody is using XRP. XRP has 9,000 customers and 9,000 million partners, customer partners. They probably have 1 million holders thinking it's going to go to $20 zillion. It's not. It's not going to be used for anything. Why do you think back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, Ripple completely separated Ripple from XRP? XRP was always the product to bring in revenue to grow Ripple. It was always a Ponzi. XRP was always a Ponzi. Always. You've been played. The Fed coin, like I've been talking about for 5 years on video, you can watch all my old videos and see it. And also, the coins that are actually going to go supersonic have nothing to do with an old, outdated, tired, worn out, worthless coin. The federal government sued it to get the IP. They already have it. And I would wager to bet that it was a backroom deal anyway. It's not happening. You need to protect yourself. The bull run is going to go massive, and you're going to be stuck holding the bag, literally holding it, watching it go up. I can't sell, watching it go down. And then it's not going to be worth nothing for you. And that's it. Because you're not going to have a way to exit. You're not going to be able to swap. You're going to see in 2026, all the exchanges are going to be changing. And most of them are going to be partnering with the banks, including Coinbase, Crypto.com, Binance, all of them. Now, if you have an institutional account, you're going to be an inside institutional partner through your entity. You're set. If you're not already set, you can check out the second link down below. You can also check out the first link down below for my newsletter. And the second link down below, you can get yourself set up before it's too late and you lose everything, because that's getting ready to what's happened. Watch my last 2 videos. I break all this down, and then it's happening right before our eyes. My last newsletter, I told you guys what happened. My next newsletter that's coming, my last one was a couple weeks ago. My next one, it's going to be the same. It's going to be phase 2 of what's happening. All the stuff I can't say on video because I can't say anything because they're hiding this information from you. These are the statutes and regulations that his order was under. This is designed to give the banks more power. It's sleight of hand, guys. It's sleight of hand. These are all in this together. Why do you think he set up these crypto coins for him and his associates? He's going to be a trillionaire before he dies. You're not. It is regulated under the Securities Act of 1933. That's almost 100 years old. Securities Exchange Act of 1934, Trust and Vineyard Act of 39, Investment Company Act of 40, Investment Advisors Act of 40, Investment Advisors Act also of 40 for the not just the advisors, but the company. We also have the Dodd-Frank Act, which is maybe the biggest of them, and then of course you have a couple others, Jumpstart, but that's just redundant. That's just to bring case law into this century. This is exactly what is happening right now. And for some reason, the people in crypto are turning crypto over to the enemy. And we're all just like, cool, bro. Yeah, regulate us out of existence, make our lives miserable, take everything from us. You're going to end up with the dollar 2.0, which is the Fed coin. Everything else is going to be a security that they custody and control under the UN. What are you doing? So if you're not on the parallel chain and you're not part of the institutions, because the institutions are going to be able to move everything forward. Once this change is over, you won't be able to get an institutional account, or it's going to be guarded. It's kind of like why do you think the rich families pass their institutional accounts down to their heirs through their trust? Do you know why they do that? Because it's not possible to get one today. They're grandfathered in. And the people I'm setting up will be grandfathered in. And my competitors are setting up will be grandfathered in. And you'll be passing your stuff down to your heirs and their heirs. Because just like you can't get the golden shares anymore, but the people who have them have them. And just like you can't get one of these securities accounts that you could get back in the 20s, and the 30s and the 40s, but you can't get them anymore because they changed the law. So all the ones that are grandfathered in are passed down, but they can only be passed down through trust. You can't pass them down person to person. That's never been legal. So the beneficiary of the entity gets the account. And so there's families that have been passing those accounts, and those accounts are worth literally billions of dollars. I'm not saying what's in the account. I'm saying, like, if Elon Musk were to try to get one of those accounts, because he's basically first generation wealth, kind of second. His dad was kind of well off, but he was broke, and then he was well off, and then he was broke again. But Elon Musk is really first generation billionaire. He would have to spend probably $1 billion to get one of those accounts. He probably did. He probably has one. Same with Bezos and Gates. But those accounts are impossible to come by. Just like being able to be grandfathered in crypto is going to be impossible to come by over the next few years. These accounts are going to be transferred down. My clients' accounts are going to be transferred down to their heirs for the next 100 years. Because it's going to be the only way you can custody and be able to on and off ramp. And for all of you who have hardware wallets, watch my last 2 videos and you're going to see why that ain't enough to save you. And you're also going to see why your coins are just basically going to be burned because they're going to be locked and thrown away forever if you don't set yourself up immediately. This is the problem. And this is where we're going in. Stablecoin legislation, an overview of the Genius Act. Yeah, real genius. You know what the genius of this act was? They basically are taking crypto from us. The average person is having crypto ripped from their hands. Crypto is the last bastion of freedom. That's it. That's it. This is it. This is everything. They're trying to do digital IDs. They're trying to do CBDCs around the world. They're trying to do social credit scores. I mean, they're doing the whole 1984 thing, and everyone's like, yeah, let's let them control crypto and the on and off ramps and the entire financial infrastructure and give them the keys to turn it on and off. If we don't do exactly what they want and exactly what they say and say exactly what they want on social media, they can just turn your life off with a switch. You want that? You want that? Because that's what you're going to get if you don't set yourself up. They're going to have the keys to your life. Right now, it's bad enough they can already seize your bank account. They can do bank runs, which they're getting ready to do. Across the board, they're getting ready to do. Canada is real close. I think Canada doesn't have 3 months left till they do bank runs. Australia doesn't have that much time left. A lot of places in Asia. China is already doing them. Now, I know China doesn't count because China is a communist dictatorship, but China's already doing them. 40% of China's real estate sector is in default. China tried to borrow money from the U.S. last year. Everyone talks about China is some big superpower. China is declining in a way that is unprecedented. It's why BRICS failed. India is begging for money, and Trump won't give them any. That's why they ran into the arms of Russia. Russia's almost bankrupt. Putin was begging Trump to allow him to get planes because almost 80% of Russia's planes can't fly because they can't get the chips. They can't get anything. And China doesn't want to go on our bad side because we'll cut them off completely. And yes, China is a superpower, but they're a super. It's kind of like somebody's worth 100 million, but it's all tied up in assets and they're cash poor. That's China. Now, I know it's hilarious for the U.S. to talk about somebody else being cash poor because of 37 trillion in debt. But again, being the world reserve currency, and the world reserve currency at the beginning of 2024 was 64.8%. Today, 71.3, meaning the dollar is actually used more. The dollar is actually stronger than it was 2 years ago. I know that's insane. You would think there's no way that's possible, but it's because it's the best of the worst. Every other currency is down. Look at the Canadian dollar, and it's getting ready to free fall. You couldn't pay me to have money in the Canadian dollar. Look at the yuan. Look at Japan. Look at all these countries. Serious trouble. Japan's holding pretty good, but they're serious trouble if they get into any conflicts, which they're on the border of 3. So the only way to save the system is do exactly what they're doing. And they're creating distraction after distraction after distraction to keep you distracted while they take it from you. And you're just allowing them. So you need to protect yourself because it's the last time you're going to be able to protect yourself. And then they're going to have everything. You're going to have a social credit score. You're going to have a digital UNID, one world government. If you're not careful. Now, luckily, the United States has pulled out of that. We're not willing to do that under the current president. Will the next one? I don't know. Maybe. The U.S. yo-yos a lot. But right now, Americans don't have to worry about CBDCs or digital IDs till at least 2028, 2029. Most of the world has to worry about it right now. That's why my last 2 videos, I talked in grave detail about a lot of the things you do in my last newsletter, because you need to take action for yourself now. So you can travel in the future, so you're not in these 15-minute cities, so you're not getting put in prison for Facebook posts like thousands of people in the UK. I thought UK had freedom. No freedom. Absolutely no freedom in the UK. None. Zero. No freedom. Canada? Ha! Yeah, right. The US? We don't have nearly the freedom we used to have. Not nearly. Talk about our Constitution. It's only as good as people willing to defend it. And seeing how that's went out the window, guys, this is a $4 trillion market. Sorry, 3.88. It's a $4 trillion market. They are not ignoring this market. They are petrified of this market. Petrified. Do you realize that if crypto was a country, it would be in the top 7 largest countries in the world? There are about 195, 192, 188. Depends on who you go at, because some countries aren't recognized. There's 195 countries in the world, give or take. Crypto is already bigger than all but like 7 of them. 7. That's how big crypto is. And it's a drop in the bucket compared to where it will be in the next bull run. It's going to probably go to 40, 50, maybe higher. But at least 40, 50 trillion is the mark that all the people on the inside that I know are talking about, at least a 10x. On the industry, a lot of coins are going to do better than others. Probably going to see a dump. I'm seeing, I don't know if we're going to see 60 Bitcoin, but definitely 70, 80 Bitcoin. Ethereum will get cut in half again. You know, XRP will do what XRP does. Like I said, XRP is going to probably do $6 to $10, $8 to $10. So it's not like it's a worthless coin, but it's not going to do $10,000, $2,000, $549. It's not going to happen. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Solana, Cardano, these coins are going to go huge, but they're going to go down first. There's going to be huge buying opportunities. Set yourself up while you can. Fear and greed is neutral. We're not even in a nobody cares. Like, everyone's just ignoring crypto right now because it's $4 trillion. It'd be the 7th largest company. Everyone's like, let me know when this thing blows up this time, it's not going to do one of these. It's going to do one of these. It's not going to be, horizontal with the No. It's going to be vertical. It's going to look like a hockey stick. It's going to look like a hockey stick in the way that you've never seen. And it's going to be much longer than any regulation hockey stick in the NHL, I can assure you. This is a $4 trillion industry. This is what they consider the largest threat. Crypto is a bigger threat to the Western world, according to them, than any other country, than any other nuclear power, than any other terrorist group, than any cartel. Crypto is their biggest concern because it threatens their power, because they've always had their power in the banking system and in the dollar. And it directly threatens that. Yeah, you can say the banking system dwarfs them. Crypto is bigger, and it's people getting together wanting an alternative to them. Do you realize that gives chills down their spine? That literally keeps billionaires awake at night. That keeps the Rothschilds awake at night. That keeps all of these 13 families awake at night. The world has came together and say, we don't want your system, we want our own. They are desperately trying to regulate this thing so they can regain control. They are in full-blown panic mode. It literally is, if crypto was a country, it would be a top 10 country in the world. Do you realize that? And we're not even in a big run. And they know that they're getting ready to dump into this. Why do you think Larry Fink came out with the Agenda 2030 recently, and he said he wants to ban private ownership of homes and private ownership of cars. That's why tokenization is so important, because it's protected under the laws, but soon you won't be able to do it based on their new infrastructure. Tokenization is so important because it protects said asset. We're going to come to a time where a starter home is going to be $3 million and regular person's making the equivalent of 80 grand. You're not going to be able to buy anything if you don't set yourself up, because this transfer of wealth is going to do just that, transfer of wealth. But like I've been saying, there is going to be no middle class. You've heard people say the end of the middle class for probably 50 years. No. 80% of people are going to be basically just cooked. I hate to say that. There's going to be no jobs for them. There's going to be no food for them. There's going to be no housing for them. There's going to be no place in this world for them, which sounds insane, but that's where we're going with AI. That's where they're going with these AI bots. They're talking about having 10 billion autonomous AI bots by 2040. That's more than the population of the world. And the population of the world is declining in most places because people can't afford to have kids. Kids are becoming a luxury item. No homes. Gen Z can't have homes. Gen Z can't have kids. Gen Z can't have jobs. Gen Z can't have cars. And yet they still won't rise up. Pretty soon, when people try to rise up, you're going to be rising up against indestructible AI bots that 100,000 of you couldn't hardly take one. And even if you do, it'll just be repaired and sent out there. It doesn't get cold, doesn't get tired, doesn't get scared, doesn't get anxious, and is basically indestructible. What are you going to do against that? And they're building it in front of your face with your tax dollars. And you're like, yeah, well, guess what? I got rights and stuff. I got my Second Amendment. What is your Second Amendment? What do you think you're going to do, Rambo? What do you think you're going to do? You can't do anything now. What are you going to do against autonomous bots? Watch the movie I, Robot from 2004, and that's the friendly version. And you're going to take them? Really? Really? Why do you think they're not actually trying to take the Second Amendment away from the Americans? Because they know it would cause us to uprise. It's the only thing that causes us to uprise. So what are they doing instead? They're making something that would make our Second Amendment completely and utterly laughable. First of all, when it's finally ready, they're going to shut off the flow of ammunition completely. They're going to militarize it and say it's for and they already have the law in place to do it. They already can do it right now. Under the Manufacturing Industrial Act and under 6 or 7 other war acts, they can federalize every factory, every ammunition depot. They can make it so you can't buy any powder, you can't buy any primers, and you can't buy any ammo. You can have a lot of cute little Second Amendments on your wall and on your shelf that are completely worthless. You're going to go throw a big fit for 3-4 weeks. They're going to go underground. People are going to rise up and freak out. And then there's going to be none. And you're going to be fighting basically indestructible bots paid for by your tax dollars. Congratulations. Crypto is your last beacon. Being a digital nomad is your last beacon. Having the ability to travel is being your last beacon. Having the ability to be location independent is your last thing. I have so many clients. I would say 80% of my clients are becoming expats and location independent. They're setting themselves up now before it's too late. It's the last thing to help you. Otherwise, you're going to be right in the middle of the wrong zone. And you don't know where the right zone is because no one does. Congress doesn't even know. There's probably 30 people in the world that know. But you know what they do know? They have escape plans. They have bunkers. You don't. You don't. They have a military that is powerful beyond belief. You have nothing. You got your buddy and your neighbor, and you're going to hunker together as a prepper. Wow. It's not going to do anything. You need to protect yourself now. You need to be location independent. You need to be fluid and liquid. You need to be able to pick up and go. That's why tokenizing your property is so important. You need to be able to pick up and go and move yourself around the board a little bit. You need to have flexibility because flexibility is going to be the freedom of the future. Being nimble, being mobile, being nomadic is going to be the flexibility of the future. Being able to control your assets from anywhere is going to be the flexibility of the future. Because they are going to start making travel more difficult. They are going to start making owning things more difficult. They are going to start making things more expensive. They are going to start making it to where they can dissipate that bottom 80% because they don't need them. They've already deemed them as what is called useless eaters. Yes. Yes, they have. They don't want you sitting around on disability. They don't want you sitting around on Social Security. They want to get rid of you. They don't want you working manual jobs, menial jobs. What do they want that for? What value does it add to them? Now, I think it's disgusting what they're doing. I think it's atrocious. But I'm basically screaming into my pillow because my videos are suppressed. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to do anything. That's fine. You know, we could take a stand and say, hey, well, we're not going to participate until we get some changes. Doesn't have to be violent. I would prefer it wasn't violent. I would prefer it's peaceful, and I would prefer that we vote with our wallets instead of this system of democracy. That's not real. I can show you 1,000 magic tricks. Guess what? They look cool. Also, guess what? They're not real. They're every bit as real as democracy. I'm going to vote my way back in. You can't vote your way into anything. That's treading on our democracy. There is no democracy. That's not a real thing. I'm going to vote and you just wait till the midterms. We're going to vote them out and we're going to vote in our democracy. I told you before what's happening. Little by 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 little. The shoe is never going to drop. And when it does, if it does, it's going to be robots. Can you believe it? Robots. They're actually building robots that look like us. Now, maybe they don't have like the skin, but I mean, they're people-shaped. Ha! They're people-shaped. You know why that is, right? You know why it is? And soon they're going to have faces. You know why? Because of the emotions. You don't want to kill somebody. Who wants to? You'd have to be insane. I don't want to ever kill anybody. But if you see a robot, I don't care. I'll break this microphone in half. You think I'm going to lose sleep if I break this microphone? I don't give a crap about this microphone or these widgets, this keyboard. It's just a keyboard. I don't care. I'm not going to lose sleep. But if they make it look like a person, I'm designed and wired to be like, oh, that's a person. I don't want to hurt that. I don't care if I hurt this keyboard. I don't care if I hurt this computer or this desk. It doesn't mean anything. I'll just go buy another one. I don't care. But I don't want to hurt a person. Any sane person would say the same thing. So they make this hunk of metal. If they make it just look like a garbage can with arms that are coming at me, I'll blow it off my lawn. I'll Second Amendment all the way down my street. But if they make it look like a person, I'm going to be like, wait a minute, what? I don't want to, And then if they make it look like a person, because now they can do facial features and blinking and faces, they can make it look like you. You look like you're being attacked by your twin that you never knew you had. I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm saying they can, which is wild. It's all psychological. Could we stand up and vote with our wallets? Yes. Are we going to? Clearly we're not. Now, when it comes to super important things like Bud Light, people are like, nah, that's too far. You let a transgender with my Bud Light, you've gone too far. It's over. When they do real important things like Cracker Barrel, a crappy restaurant that makes frozen TV dinners and pretends it's old country. You changed my logo. You took out Uncle Blue Bob or whatever his name was. That's too far. You take out my Aunt Jemima on my syrup. That's too much. You take Chef Boyardee off my noodles. I'm going to throw a fit. But if you take all of somebody's freedoms, rights, ability to travel, ability to think, ability to do what they want, ability to say what they want, no. I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to stay silent, and I'm going to hope someone else takes care of that for me. Because that's what humanity is currently doing. And the government is brilliant. Little by 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 little by. You see these acts. They've been enacting this for well over 100 years. 1913, to be exact, is when this started. The year was 1913, and this was visualized. What we're going through now is visualized. And the crux is 2030. So that's basically 120 years. 117, it doesn't matter. 110, 150. They saw this coming. Old George Orwell saw this coming in his book called 1984, but he wrote it decades before. This has always been the plan. This was always coming. This was always going to happen. Do you think they're going to let this stand? Little by little by little, they've been doing this. Now, there's a thought that they created Bitcoin to get us to this moment because we know crypto's free and the ones smart enough can get in, and they knew they couldn't control it. Sometimes you got to build something so great that you got to let it outside of your grasp to bring people in. This is a war game, like something you would have saw Genghis Khan do. Yeah, I believe that they created Bitcoin. I believe that they created Bitcoin in a way that was so perfect that not even they control it. There's no backdoor. There's no way for them to control Bitcoin, and they know it. They're 100% sure of it. But if they created something that perfect was the only way people would latch on, and they knew down the line they could regulate control. Now, is that what happened? I don't know, but I honestly believe it is based on all the people I've been talking to around the world. I genuinely believe that Bitcoin was created by the government because the government already created 3 other that were known on record, digital e-cash that failed, and then Bitcoin succeeded beyond anybody's wildest dreams. Now, you can use that to your good, kind of like why I invest in AI companies. People say, I can't believe somebody like you would invest in AI companies. Bro, I'm not. What am I going to do? I'm not Batman. I can't stop AI. So the least I can do is invest in it. That way I can reinvest the money into my business to help with privacy and digital security and protect people. Got to get the money from somewhere. The liquidity to be able to, my business isn't even profitable. I spend so much money on this crap. I work with Fortune 500 clients that pay my company huge amount of money. But I spend so much money doing this because it's for my kids and it's bigger than me. I've told you before, I would rather die broke and know that I tried something than just sit around and be like, well, someone else will do it. Because that's literally what people think. They think someone else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. Everyone wants to be Paul Revere. The British are coming. Who cares, dude? Every one of you want to be Paul Revere. Cool. But nobody wants to be the guy who does anything. Social media is full of 20 million Paul Reveres. The British are coming. But nobody wants to be the one to do anything. So the only thing left to do is protect yourself. Unfortunately, we're in an every man, every woman for themselves situation because nobody's coming to help you. Nobody's coming to save you, and you can't vote your way in with democracy. It's a democracy. No, it's not. It never was. It never will be. It can't be. That's not the way it was designed. If you look at history, you would know that immediately. So, that's where we are. Little by little, that is where we are. We are at the end of this timeline. It's not good. Agenda 2030 is right on track. You'll own nothing and love it. In the meantime, they're going to distract you with the World Cup. Oh, let's kick a ball. We're going to distract you with another Olympics. Now, you saw how the last one went. That was brilliant. That was whoever put on the last Olympics might have been the smartest man in the world. You know how many laws and freedoms you lost during the Olympics because you were so busy looking at all the weirdness that was happening on some stupid games that you're most likely not part of? Can you imagine what they're going to do in the next ones in LA? That's a great, dude, if I was a politician, I would not be able to wait for that. You know how many laws and freedoms they can take away? Well, you're like, oh, look at this guy. He's jumping over a pool. Great. I hope it's great. I hope it's fantastic. So protecting yourself is gonna be ideal. You're gonna need to do that immediately. If you haven't already, check out the second link down below. But I've been getting a lot of questions about this left and right. Everything is going as planned. Nothing is stopping. It doesn't matter who is in the office. Because the president of the United States is middle management at best. That's all they are. It's like they don't run Walmart. They run a single Walmart. They're middle management. The president of every country, president of Canada is like, the janitor. President of Australia is like the vice president of paperwork. The president of the UK is like the vice president of gibberish, right? It doesn't matter. None of these people have any real power. But they're advancing the system. You notice how every single one of them, it doesn't matter the country, gets really, really wealthy somehow through magic. Isn't that convenient? Biden's a zillionaire. He went into office. Biden turned a couple million. Biden turned millions of dollars into thousands during his political career. He literally turned millions of dollars into thousands during his political career. And then became president and made a couple $100 million. Okay? Every prime minister, UK goes through they change their prime minister as much as most people change their t-shirt. Every single one of them, 10x their net worth, 50x their net worth. Germany, same thing. Berlin, absolutely. Send them to Berlin, send them $1 million, 100 million. Great. Switzerland, yep. Sweden, absolutely. Finland, of course. Ireland, without a shadow of a doubt. Italy, absolutely. Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're in Venezuela, doesn't matter if you're in Brazil, doesn't matter if you're in Japan, every single one of them. Zillionaire, all of them. Yeah. Do any of them keep their money in their own country, in their own markets that they regulate and they control? Absolutely not, because they would never want to live under that system. Yeah. Do any of the politicians in the United States? No, they don't. That's the short answer. Obviously not. Do you think they want to be in this crap? The U.S. is a tool. It's not a country. The U.S. is a great country to have a business in, to have operational accounts in, to be able to utilize, to be able to ride hard and put up wet. But the U.S. isn't a real country. It's a tool. That's how it was designed in 1913, as a tool. The people here are part of the product. use it to your benefit. This is a rare chance to use it to your benefit, just like the .com era, just like the startup era. Okay, you can use this as your benefit, just like people did in the manufacturing era. The great thing about the United States is it can be used to your benefit. It doesn't matter where you live. You can use the United States to your benefit from any place on earth, less maybe like terrorist nation, But outside of that, any place on earth, you can use the United States to your benefit. And you should. You should. It's not a real country. It's not a real place. It's like Narnia. Are you kidding me right now? The United States is not a real country. It's a military industrial complex, and it's a tool to print assets and money. That's it. The people who live here are brainwashed like they won the lottery and they live in the greatest country on earth. Now, you have the most freedoms. That's true. You have the most rights. That's true. And if you're smart, you'll own nothing. You'll control everything, and you use it to your advantage. If you're not smart, you become a pawn in a cog in the machine forever, which sadly is what happens to most people. And they've got a way to make everyone pay. It does not matter. You will pay. You own a house, you'll pay forever. If you're on social benefits, you'll pay. If you have a job, you'll pay. If you have a business, you'll pay. Everyone pays in one way or another. I promise you, everyone pays. This is not a real place. This is freaking Narnia. Use it to your advantage. Use the system to your advantage. Use the building blocks that I always talk about to your advantage and win the game. The great thing about this game is you have the ability to win if you're smart enough to take action and don't sit back and think someone's going to do it for you. Social media is mostly Paul Revere. Don't be Paul Revere. Be the guy who no one talks about. Why? Because he or she was smart enough to understand that Paul Revere was an idiot, and so were all of his minions, and he protected himself and got out of there. Set himself up to be fluid and liquid and mobile and nomadic, and didn't tie himself and tether him or herself down, because that is what's going to end you in the end. Anyway, appreciate you listening to my TED Talk here. This is just insane. I'm never going to understand a society. Cracker Barrel, I'm pissed. Give me back my logo. But my entire life, nah, yeah, you can have it. Okay, great. Thank you. Absolutely.